YouTube. I think. Let me double check that we're on
How do I
YouTube.
find your live streams on YouTube?
I think you just go to the homepage of the channel. I think that's how you find the stream on YouTube. You just go to Pixel Pete on YouTube.
I'm here and I don't see it. I don't think.
It says online now. I see it. It says Dwerve demo played this week. On
Let me refresh
YouTube.
maybe. Oh, yep. Okay, got it.
Okay,
All right, cool.
I'm gonna post in the community real quick. The community tab on YouTube. So all right, guys, be patient. We're about to start the stream, but have like 3 minutes, or we're going to start playing the game. We're just posting on social media. Let us know if the audio is good. If we need to adjust the audio on either of us. Hopefully it's great.
All right, let's go ahead and start as soon as you finish that. That way we can get past get to the gameplay by the time.
Yeah. Okay. I think we can start. You ready?
Yep. Let's do it.
All right. I'm getting water. All right, guys. Welcome to the Dwerve stream. I'm Peter, and we also have PJ with us. We're the two primary developers of Dwerve. Say what's up, PJ.
Hey guys, how's it going?
All right, and we're gonna start playing Dwerve now. It's a 2D tower defense dungeon crawler RPG.
I just realized I think we have the chat disabled by default. Yeah, so if anyone can't see the chat, there should be a show chat button in the bottom right of the Steam page. Steam didn't have a chat option. I'm gonna go see if I can change that real quick.
In the massive hollow mountain of Mount Crowcrest, there once lived a great nation of dwarves. The dwarves discovered power stones while mining deep in the mountain. They used them to power machines, and eventually entire cities. They lived in peace and prosperity for centuries. Over time, they became infatuated with power stones and dug deeper to find more. One day they dug too deep and unleashed the gloom-dark hordes, an army of trolls and monstrous creatures. Once the dwarves realized that trolls turned to stone in the sunlight, they fled far from the mountain and found refuge on the sunny hills of Brecca. Centuries passed, and over time, the dwarves forgot their traditions and abandoned craftsmanship and innovation in favor of warring and raiding. History became myth, and myth became bedtime stories. But whispers of a long-forgotten darkness echo throughout the valley of the great mountain. It can be heard in the snoring forest by those who dare enter. The snoring forest. Dwerve, we shouldn't be here. You can't even fight with that little crafting hammer. The snoring forest is full of vicious creatures. If we run into any, we're done for. Here, hide in my bag if you're so scared. So check it out, guys. We can move with WASD. And super quick, I'll just show you a cool feature in this game. At any point in time, you can plug in a controller. And check it out, even the graphic changed. And now you can play with a controller. Pretty cool, right? So let's just walk around here, explore this gorgeous forest.
By the way, it should work with Xbox and PlayStation controllers, but currently with the demo, it's still a little buggy with the menus. So it's not 100%, but we're getting there. It'll be fully compatible with all major controllers by the time we release.
So you're supposed to die in the intro. Don't worry, you're not supposed to defeat those guys. Now we're at Dwerve's house. Dwerve, you're awake. Thank goodness you're all right. I told you never to go to the snoring forest. Your mother went in there and never came back. If I had not found you when I did, you would have died. Forgive my anger, son. I don't know what I would do if anything ever happened to you. Well, I better get back to Brecca Village. Chief Tane and the other warriors went raiding this morning, but I've been assigned guard duty again. I'll be home for dinner. See you tonight, son. Did you like his beard? He got a cool beard. There's a lot of beards in this game. So
suitable for dwarves.
Except for Dwerve, since Dwerve is just a child dwarf. He has giant sideburns and not a big beard. So if you explore a little bit, we got these cool little word bubbles that pop up that'll tell you a little bit about the environment. So it's fun if you want to. You don't have to like press any button to interact with stuff. A dwarf will notice things. Did you go looking for your mother again? Ah, of course you did. You are just like her. I suspect this won't be the last time you sneak into the Snoring Forest. Come, let me at least teach you how to defend yourself. Meet me in the field. The field. So I'm gonna disobey him because I like to explore. We have this currency in our game. It's called scrap, and if you get close to it, it automatically picks it up. We thought that was kind of convenient. And check it out. If I go to these clothes, it says still not dry. And if you explore a little bit, you might find little secrets like this scrap back here. In the top right corner, you can see what your current quest is. It says, meet Esben in the fields. Us dwarves are very strong, but we're also very slow. This makes us weak against multiple foes. That's why the warriors of the old days became warsmiths. Warsmiths were warrior engineers that used turrets and traps to take on multiple foes at once. A single warsmith could best a dozen warriors, some say even 100. And believe it or not, your great-grandparents, my mother and father, were warsmiths during the Great Exodus. The creatures of the Snoring Forest will surely outnumber you. If you're to survive out there, you must become a warsmith. So I'll teach you, as my parents taught me. Let's see if you can handle a turret. Get the spin blade turret from the chest, then come back. We got the spin blade turret. The spin blade turret is a melee turret that constantly damages all enemies around it with a spinning blade. Let's show this dummy who's boss. Oh, I can't. You see that? It says I need power stone. So we go back to Grandpa Esben. And he says, turrets require power stones to function. Spin blade turret needs 2 power stones. Lucky for you, I kept the stones. Father passed down to me. I had 2 more power stones lying around somewhere. Can't seem to find them. I wonder where they went. Anyways, get the 2 power stones from the chest. Use them to build a spin blade turret next to the training. Boom, boom. Those are power stones. And they also automatically get picked up. So we're gonna go next to this training dummy. It's gonna get chopped up.
If you guys don't see, if you're my bad.
Yeah.
If you're watching on Steam and you don't see the chat, you can click the show chat button on the bottom right and feel free to ask questions. I'm monitoring the chat on both Steam and YouTube, and I'll try my best to answer any questions that you all might have.
So this right here is a turret in our game, and we decided to call them turrets instead of towers because it's more fitting. And as you can see, you can relocate them. So after you kill an enemy, you go to another location and you can rebuild it. And basically the power stones is kind of like our mana. It's a resource you use so that way you have to manage it and build turrets smartly. Nice work. Next, let me do an old man voice. Nice work. Next, let's talk about artifacts. Artifacts are legendary warsmith items that give you special active passive abilities. Here, take my father's bouncing boomerang. It gives you a ranged auto attack to support your turrets from a safe distance. You need to stand still in order to throw it. And last but not least, take my mother's griffin boots, so you can dash by pressing shift. The other artifacts remain lost in Mount Crowcrest. Now let's see how you do against real opponents. Follow the path to the brewery and take care of those pesky bee fairies that have been drinking all my delicious honey brew mead. I want some of that delicious honey brew mead. Bouncing boomerang. Dwerve automatically throws a bouncing boomerang at nearby enemies when standing still. Griffin boots. The griffin boots let Dwerve dash through enemies while dealing damage and knockback. So check it out. We can destroy this wheat here, and there's some scrap in there. But something that you guys should also try is building a spin blade turret. Let's check it out. It drops down all the way around it, and you can also dash through it. And when you dash through it, also destroys it. So there's
Somebody was asking about previewing turret placement. So you want to hold the build button and show them how that works?
Oh yeah, so if I hold Q, it shows me where I'm gonna build the turret. So that way, if I'm standing here, I realize, oh, I need to move a little bit more forward. So yeah, you can see where you're building by holding the build button. In this case, it's QWER. I like QWER because I used to play League of Legends. I'm moving around with the arrow keys. So there's a bunch of destructibles in the level, and you can use your boomerang to destroy them, or you can dash through them. A lot of people don't know you can dash through them, but it's convenient. I scared all the
Speaking of controls, the final game will have fully remappable controls. So if you don't like the default control scheme, you can go ahead and customize them to whatever you prefer. It's not in yet, though. It's not in yet. So for the demo, it's not, but it will be.
So there we can see a beehive. An exclamation pops up right before the wave comes out. And the smart thing to do is to hide behind your turret, because remember, if Dwerve dies, you get game over, but the towers, they can get destroyed. As you can see, there's a health bar above the tower, and it's starting to smoke. So that's how you can keep track of when they're about to get destroyed. Look at that view, Brecca Village. I love that parallax. Let's do it one more time. There's a gate here. It looks like a shortcut, but I can't go through it.
Someone's saying your audio's low, the game's too loud. Oh, your audio's low / the game's too low. Just maybe lower it a little bit.
And there. Is that too low or is that better?
How does it sound to you guys?
I think the music's too loud, right? Yeah, I think the music needs to go down. You can raise the sound effect. We can easily talk over the sound effect.
That's okay. They said that's a lot better. Cool. Yeah, let us know if everything's too loud or too low or anything.
So here we can see that I'm surrounded, so I have to move my turret and put it between me and the current wave coming at me. Now since Dwerve throws the boomerang, you have to think of Dwerve as another tower. He's a mobile tower. Because check it out, if I'm running around over here not helping the tower out, it's probably gonna get destroyed. He got really close to getting destroyed. So it's a good idea to back up your towers. A health potion! So here's a little test to see if people mastered the skill of placing turrets.
So someone asked, when it comes to big projects, what advice do you have for aspiring indie devs? So that's like a loaded question. The simplest thing I guess I would say is start with a small scope. So when it comes to big projects, if you're aspiring, that means you're probably learning or just starting out, and you shouldn't be building large projects. So I would say start small. You can always add more features later, but focus on the core gameplay, make it feel good, make it fun. And then you can always add more features later on.
Right. Design a game that's fun without all the bells and whistles. If the core gameplay is not fun, then you're probably not on the right track. You should always be able to add to it. Let's scare this bird. I love the birds.
Another question. What is this built in? We use Unity. Yeah, the birds are very nice. It's very fun to watch them fly away as you run up to them.
Dwarf, boy, am I glad to see you. About that, thanks for getting Eric when I got knocked out. You, hiccup? That's my hiccup sound effect. You really had me scared for a moment. Glad you're alright though. So, hiccup has been finally taught you how to build turrets, huh? Well, you did a pretty good job against those bee fairies. Alright, Bert. I think I've had a bit too much of this honeydew ale. Do me a favor and don't tell Esben. Thanks, bud. Let's take care of the bee fairy swarming out back. Make some room in your bag for me. Ah, nice and cozy in your bag. Thanks for the lift. Look, some power stones. Grandpa's power stones. Ari, did you take them again? Well, how did those get there? Well, at least you have 4 power stones now. Since turrets require 2 power stones to build, you can now build 2 spin blade turrets. So I could destroy this box, but it's so fun to dash through them.
Couple more questions. How many devs built this? So Peter and I are the 2 primary devs, but we also work with an artist, Inche, and a sound designer and composer, Morty. So there's 4 of us in total. And well, I don't know about Unreal's pricing. I think they do have a free option, but they might take some royalty or something. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I think the way Unreal works is they take 5% of your profits if you use the free version.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure in that since I haven't used it in forever. Another question: are the trees using shaders? No, they're actually using tweens. We're just kind of rotating them and skewing them with tweens. We want to come back and animate them frame by frame later, but it was just we didn't have time. So it was like good enough for now.
Yeah, we considered shaders, but the tweens are easier to do than shaders, so we did that first. Tweens are easier to tweak too.
Oh, am I loud? Somebody said somebody's loud. Is that me? I think it's me. Let me turn mine down a little bit.
No, don't worry about it. I got.
Oh, okay.
I got you.
All right.
There. Say something now.
All right. Test. How am I? Am I loud? Am I good? All right. I'll wait for someone to reply, but hopefully it's better.
I lowered you, but hopefully I didn't lower your volume too much.
Okay. All right, why Unreal over Unity? That's not a question. I haven't used Unreal forever. Unity just works for us. Yeah. Let's see.
Dwerve, look, the village is under attack. Wait, isn't Eric down there? Eric will be fine, right? He's the best warrior I know. What am I saying? We have to go down there and make sure he's all right. Ah, there you are, grandson. I was on my way to check up on you when I saw the smoke. Come, we must hurry inside. I can't. I have to find Dad. Dwerve, are you really going to go down there? I already lost Mom. I can't lose Dad too. You have your mother's courage, Dwerve. She would be proud of you. Here, take the crossbow turret. The crossbow turret is a ranged turret that shoots high-speed bolts. It has low health, so it's best to place it behind spin blade turret. When you have more than one turret built, you have to pay attention to which turret you recall. You'll always recall the closest turret in the direction you're facing, or the closest one if you're not facing any turret. You can press and hold spacebar to display an indicator above the turret that will get recalled when you release the button. Now go find your father and be careful. I got the crossbow turret. So to show you guys real quick what Esben was saying, I'm near this turret, so I recall it. But I can hold spacebar, and you can see there's an indicator above the 2 turrets. So I can recall a turret that's far away if I just if I just look towards it.
So someone was asking about investing. So the project was self-funded for the first about half of development. We did contract work for other game studios, and we reinvested it in Dwerve. And then we also had a Kickstarter last fall where we raised a little over $50,000. So we haven't had to get an investor or publisher. And then Master Luke, one of our enemy backers, he says, when will the cyborg enemy appear? And unfortunately, the cyborg enemy is not in the demo,
Yeah.
but it will be in the final game, and he's awesome. He looks super cool, and I'm excited for you guys to eventually see him. We'll definitely share him on Twitter and Facebook down the road.
We've built a lot more of the game than is in the demo, but I mean, we can't let you play everything, guys. So the demo is a very good teaser.
How long from concept to completion did it take you guys?
Probably going to be about 3 years, right?
Yeah, 3.5 years. 3.5 years. Yeah, it took a long time. We were working part-time for the first like year and a half, 2 years, while we were doing contract for those studios. So we've been working full-time on it for about a little over a year. Yeah, how long has Dwerve been in development? Yeah, just over 3 years. Will there be an indicator to show your max power stones?
So to show you guys a little bit in regards to the power stones, if you look above Dwerve's head, it shows you how many power stones you currently have. So you can see I have 4 above my head, and then now it shows that I have 2. But also in the bottom left corner, you can see the number of power stones I have in the bottom left corner and the cost of each of the turrets.
Yeah, we're not sure on a max. 6 is a pretty good sweet spot. We might increase it to like 8 towards the end of the game for some, you know, some epic last battles. We're not really sure yet. That's something we still kind of experiment with. But in general, we don't want to give too many. That would make you pretty powerful.
We noticed that the less power stones you have, the more you have to think about where you place those towers. We can't get to this chest here. It's just a little bit of foreshadowing. All right, let's go to Brecca Village.
Someone was asking about the green gems. Yes, they always fly back to you, so you can't really lose them.
It's a resource you have to manage. Ooh, what a splendid surprise! It looks like my little experiment worked. Carve 'em up, you made sure our troll archers only fired the elf fairy arrows, correct? Yes, Queen, and our troll archers wore hoods to hide their faces. Like you said, too, they won't suspect us. Very good. The dim-witted dwarves won't hesitate to blame the elf fairies and wage war upon them. Unleash the warg boars and have them feast on the corpses of our fallen. Leave no trace of troll behind. Yes, Queen. So we got our villains. They're trolls, but they didn't turn to stone. If you guys remember the story at the beginning.
Someone's asking about a release date. Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah, the release date.
No, you go ahead. It's slightly delayed, so I'm having trouble syncing up with you.
Dude, that was close. For a second, I thought they saw us. Dwerve, I think those were trolls. But if they were, why the heck haven't they turned to stone? I don't like this one bit. Those warg boars look fast. If they get too close, you can press shift to dash away from them. New quest, find Eric.
Alright, any release date yet? We're aiming for summer, but we don't have a concrete release date yet. As we get closer to the summer, we'll probably have a better idea of exactly when it will launch. Which game inspired Dwerve? So Dwerve inspired by a bunch of games. Obviously a Link to the Past. You know, we really want to go with retro aesthetics and the whole fantasy
top-down
adventure
pixel art RPG story. Yeah.
Yep. And then for turrets, we drew a lot of inspiration from Dungeon Warfare. That's a fantastic tower defense game. They have really awesome turrets. And then of course, just blending the overall, action RPG with tower defense. We definitely drew a lot of inspiration from Orcs Must Die and oh my goodness, Dungeon Defenders. Sorry.
Yeah.
Orcs Must Die and Dungeon Defenders. I almost said Dungeon of the Endless, but that's not really an inspiration. It's remotely similar to Dwerve, though.
Dwerve, what are you doing here? Are you all right? You should have stayed on the cliff with your grandpa. It's not safe here. Those warg boars. Did you do that? Looks like Esmond finally taught you how to use those turrets. Son, I'm going to make sure that all the trolls are gone. Find and defeat the remaining warg boar dens.
So, someone's asking about the tower. So there will be a lot. We plan to have at least 15 turrets and traps. So a lot of variety, and each turret and trap will actually have its own upgrade tree as well. So for example, the crossbow turret, you can upgrade it so it shoots faster, or maybe that instead it shoots further. It can have flaming arrows. We're not sure exactly what upgrades we're going to do yet, but each turret will be customizable via a little upgrade tree. So a lot of variety.
Yeah, and there's turrets and traps. I just got a trap. The tar trap is a floor trap made of sticky tar that slows all enemies that walk over it. And traps work a little bit different. I'll show you guys here. When you place down a trap, you can walk over it. It doesn't block the path. And as you can see, there's a little yellow bar above it, and that's a timer. Oh my gosh, whoops, that wave started. I didn't realize I triggered the wave already. So
Someone else is also asking about post-release. Um, After we release, the first thing we want to do is make sure we localize it to more languages and get it on additional consoles. So initial release will be for Windows, Mac, Linux, and Switch, and then after we would like to get it on PlayStation and Xbox. After that, we're not really sure yet. More game modes, DLC. We'll see. We'll see.
yeah, DLC would be really fun to do. So I see that there's a beehive den over there. So I put arrow towers over there. And as you can see, the tar trap is going to slow the boars. And it's going to give plenty of time for these crossbows to just do work on them. This is a good example of how placing your turrets correctly will make battles really easy. But if you place them wrong, then you would get swarmed. Part of the strategy of building the turrets. It's something that we really wanted to have in this game that a lot of other tower defense games don't have. You have the freedom to build anywhere, and it's up to you to make up the strategy.
IKEA, I get what you're asking now. Yeah, we might update the hub to show the max number of power stones you have in play. That's a pretty good idea. So someone else asked any advice for getting better at pixel art. Watch Pixel Pete tutorials and practice.
Yeah, I started a YouTube channel called Pixel Pete, and I show you a lot of how a lot of the pixel art is done for the aesthetic and style that we went for with Dwerve.
See if I can link in here, or will it probably block it?
I got an HP and armor. If you look, actually, I think I would have to move, blocking the health part. But if you notice, the screen was getting red when I was low health, and now it cleared back up.
I just hid chats from somebody else spamming. I just want to make sure that I hid them for everyone, not just us. Does anyone see the B chats anymore? I think it looks good. Let me scroll up to the questions.
Chief Tane's
oh yeah, I was gonna
Horn.
post.
He and the warriors are back from raiding. Let's head back after you kill the last of these warg boars. So here we design a setup again. I'm gonna place a tar trap, arrow tower, and a slice turret. And I'm gonna defend this slice turret here.
And just in case you're watching from YouTube, I'm going to go ahead and link to the Steam page. If you're enjoying the game so far, please give us a wish list. You can download this demo yourself and try it out. It's on the Steam page. If you just scroll down, you'll see a big download button in green.
Oh, I should have changed the description on YouTube. I think I'll do that during the next.
Oh, I was supposed to do that. My bad. Let me see if I can edit it right now.
Well, you can't. It's on.
Oh, it's on yours. It's on yours. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna do it during this dialogue.
Yeah, good idea. If I missed your question, feel free to ask it again. Yeah. Are there learning resources or advice you can give to someone wanting to delve into game development? I think learning and being consistent. So watch tutorials, whether you're a pixel artist or a programmer. Just go to YouTube and just keep watching tutorials. See how professionals implement different systems or make really good art, and then practice. If you do that, I mean, you just do that enough, you'll eventually get good at it. But the key is really sticking to it. Will the game have a Spanish version? So yes, we launched a Kickstarter last fall, and one of the stretch goals was localization, and we reached it. So there will be a Spanish translation. Do the tar traps affect flying enemies? They do not. So flying enemies, since they're not on the ground, they're not affected by any of the floor traps.
All right. I put a link in the video description to where you can download the demo. The reason we're doing this is it's a Steam event, and for about 1 week you're going to be able to play the demo that I'm playing right now. So you should go download the demo while you still can. Trolls aren't even real. If they were, why didn't they turn to stone? And where are their corpses? Chieftain, you must believe me. Did you think no one noticed when you abandoned your post to go into the snoring forest to plot with your elf fairy friends? Elf fairy arrows lay scattered across our village. How dare you protect them? This is treason. Take him away. So Chieftain got fooled. He got fooled. Vandra's plan worked. No, wait, Dad! Send for warriors from the other villages. We must prepare to take revenge upon the elf fairies. I love how Chieftain has like a massive axe.
He's the chief. He has the biggest
I love
weapon, you know. How many people are working on this? 4 of us. There's 2 full-time developers, Peter and myself, and then a pixel artist Enche, and a sound designer and composer Morty.
Oh no, what are we going to do? Oops, that's not Dwarf talking. Oh no, what are we going to do? I'd say try and talk to Chieftain, but we all know he's a stubborn dwarf. I'm gonna talk to him. Eric says he went into the snoring forest to find you. Yeah, right. You don't have the guts to enter that cursed forest. I bet you saw the trolls with your own eyes too, eh? I'll tell you what, I'm a reasonable dwarf. Bring me proof that trolls exist, and I'll release your father. I think the head of a troll will do. Good luck getting that. You have until the next full moon to bring me the head of a troll, or else your father's head is mine. Yeah, he sounds reasonable. I'm gonna go do it. I'm gonna go find a troll. Dwerve, you must stop Chieftain's madness. For the sake of both your father and the elf fairies. The trolls must still live in Mount Crowcrest. After all these years, they finally found a way to withstand the sunlight. Travel north through the snoring forest and find the gates of Crowcrest, the way into the mountain. Your father keeps his second power stone in a chest at the dock. Find the key and get the power stone from the chest. You take care of yourself, grandson. Let's go to the dock. Don't forget about your dash. You guys see the key? Right there. So this key was very easy to find, but what we do in most levels after this is that we hide the key, and then we have a little puzzle for finding the chest as well. So there's a puzzle aspect to Dwerve. You'll see that later on in the next area.
So a couple of questions. Is first game for you guys? No, Peter and I have worked on a couple of games. We worked on a top-down shooter called Black Sea Odyssey, and we also did contract work on Adventure Quest 3D. And then in between then there was a couple of like minor projects. But this is our first game has half human games. What did you guys use for collaboration? We use Git, which is basically an open source version of GitHub, and there's an issue tracker in there. And then we also have like a developer Discord where we kind of where we post feedback and communicate.
And we also use source control.
Yeah.
Very
Git is
thing.
Git is a Git hosting service just like GitHub. So yeah, it hosts source control and it has issue tracking and a wiki and other features like that.
Dwarf, don't forget you can build 3 turrets with all these power stones. I just hope we don't run into spiders. What are those, flowers? No, they're spiders.
They're flower spiders.
I think that's a really cool enemy. You gotta be quick in Dwarf. You gotta have those reflexes. So here's a little secret. There must be a treasure chest nearby. I'm showing you guys a secret. Too bad if you didn't play the demo yet. The armor will protect me. I think we have, in the demo, you play in the village and the snoring forest, but we have several different biomes within the mountain. A great way to see some of the different towers, the turrets and traps that we have, and biomes is to check out the trailer.
Someone's asking about, well, or I guess real quick on Gitty. So it's just self-hosted Git, and then is it being published professionally? So yes, we're self-publishing though. We're not working with a publisher, at least not currently. We may for certain regions, specifically like China, Japan, and Korea, but we plan to self-publish in America and Europe.
Oh my god. I wasn't paying attention for a second there. I almost got swarmed.
Another question. Is there any leveling up for this game? So you don't level up Dwerve. Instead, you collect scrap, which you spend on upgrades for your turrets. So you basically level up your turrets instead of Dwerve. That being said, throughout the game, you do collect what we call artifacts, which are basically abilities for Dwerve.
Yeah,
so
like
you do get stronger as well. Yeah, exactly. So just like you have the boomerang and the dash, there's a couple more abilities that you'll unlock as you play the game. So there's no leveling system, but there definitely is a progression. Yeah, someone is asking where to learn C#. Definitely Brackeys, and another one is Code Monkeys. Those are specifically Unity, so I'm assuming you mean Unity.
Brackeys is great for Unity, but there aren't. It doesn't go super deep into C#, but you'll learn enough to get you started working with them.
Yeah, it's really great for if you're just trying to start out while learning Unity.
Both PJ and I learned how to do C# in college. You can also go to college and learn game design.
Yeah.
That's always an option.
Yeah, if you want to learn more like programming, you can definitely find C# playlists on YouTube as well. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but there's a ton. And they'll cover, object-oriented programming and design patterns and all that more programmer-related stuff. For those of you that are watching, if you are liking the stream, you can go download this demo yourself on the Steam page. If you just scroll down, there's a big green download button. And if you like it, you can also wishlist Dwerve on Steam. That's pretty important. It helps us basically get visibility when we do launch. The games industry is very competitive. There's a lot of games releasing every single day. So, having more wish lists helps us, it'll help us stand out when we launch. Can I play the full game even though it's not released? No, you can't play the full game, not yet. Yeah, but the demo's out, and I think it's about like 45 minutes of gameplay, so it's a decent chunk.
Oh yeah, it's a big chunk of game.
Yeah, and it'll give you a pretty good idea of what to expect for the full game. The full game is just, a lot more story, much more turrets, the upgrades, a lot of that. So it's enough for you to decide if the game is for you or not. Can you talk about some of the surprise challenges you faced developing this game? Oh boy.
There's so many.
I know that's a tough question.
I think a funny one. There's a lot of funny ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
One that I did not expect, a challenge I did not expect for us, is writing. We didn't. That was an unexpected challenge for sure.
Oh yeah, it took a lot more like energy and time than we'd expected to think about the story and the characters and the quests and the world building. Another one was the Kickstarter. That took forever to prepare for. It took a lot longer than we had expected, and it came out. It was well worth it. It was a very successful Kickstarter, but it was a lot more than we'd expected. A lot more work. The scope of the game, we never expected it to take this long to get to where we are now. That's why I said earlier, it starts small. I think keeping the scope small was something we could have probably managed better.
So these things that I've been killing, they're not trolls, they're noblings. And look at the nobling, isn't it cute? Hey, that's our treasure, you stinky dwarf. So we still need it. We're still heading towards the mountain, in order to find a troll. But in the forest, we encountered these nobles.
Who dubbed Dwerve voice? I don't think there's any voice over Dwerve. That's just Peter. That's just Peter talking as Dwerve. Why was the Kickstarter so hard? Just a lot of preparation. It takes a lot of work.
We had to do a trailer, and then we had to describe every aspect of the game. We had to create the rewards, and then we had to create all the art for the different rewards. It's a lot to do.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of making pretty graphics and writing, and also like reaching out. So you need to contact press and YouTubers to try and get them to cover it. You need to reach out to other Kickstarters to cross promote. So it's just a lot of work across the board. Not to mention, like Peter said, the trailer in and of itself took forever, and preparing the demo also took forever. How do I make an account and sign up for the game? Does it cost money? Just go to their homepage and there should be a sign up button. Steam, making an account is free, and downloading this demo is free. It costs money just to buy the games.
We did it. We survived that onslaught.
Different game modes. So one of the stretch goals for our Kickstarter was a boss rush game mode. So there'll be that. We also made a spin-off game that we might release as like DLC. It's called Classic TD, and it's actually Dwerve has a traditional tower defense game. So we will have those and possibly
out,
more.
Guys. There's lighting in Dwerve. You guys see that? We've been messing with that for so long.
You see Dwerve's shadow?
Yeah. And the majority of the game is going to take place in the mountain, so there's going to be some really nice lighting. And here's a good example of a puzzle. So as you can see, there's pressure pads and levers, and you'll have to figure out a combination of these in order to get to the treasure chest.
Hey, I think this part, you want to just kind of go through it quick?
Oh yeah.
I think this was one of the yeah, let them solve it on their own. But yeah, I think this was a point where
all right, I got
drop
it.
off. We do not use Unity's 2D lighting. We use Smart Lighting 2D. I checked it out when it first came out, Unity's lighting, and it was okay. It might be better now, but
cool,
it already works.
It's cool, but it doesn't cast shadows, so it will light stuff up and, like on the ground and stuff. But it doesn't. I'm pretty sure it doesn't cast shadows.
Yeah, it might now, but I don't think so. But we use Smart Lighting 2D. It worked. It was great, so we weren't gonna switch it. Why does Dwerve have blue hair? We wanted to make Dwerve look unique, and blue hair makes you stand out pretty good. So in general, we really want to make our characters unique and interesting and aesthetically just cool. So we're just doing some interesting stuff. There's a character, he's not in the demo, but he's like a giant like talking turtle with like orange hair, and he looks hilarious. So we just wanted to have fun characters.
Yeah, and it's so that you can always spot him anywhere in a level, so that it's really easy to pinpoint where Dwerve is. So like the tower, if Dwerve had brown hair and you have these brown towers around, there's a better contrast with Dwerve's hair on the background and stuff like that. So part of it is also for visibility. For Stonewall, we made it, guys. Whoa, look at all those noblings. Look at that fort. Doesn't that look fun? I know you guys can't wait to go in. And that's why. Careful, the ones with the shields block arrows. And that's why this is where we end it. The clip. To be continued. Thanks for playing Dwerve. We hope you enjoyed the demo. If you did, wishlist Dwerve on Steam and join our Discord community to get notified when the game launches. Also, to give us feedback and see the progress of the game.
In case you joined us in the middle, we are going to play through it again. So, hang out still. And we're definitely still monitoring the chat. So feel free to ask questions.
Should we start right away? Do round 2?
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's keep it going. We got a lot of viewers on Steam, it appears. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it looks like
over 1,000.
Oh
No,
yeah.
yours didn't update.
No, mine says 600. Let me see. Let me refresh the page. That's awesome.
1,128. So let's keep going.
Oh, right there on the start screen, there's a button at the top to wishlist it and links to the social media on the right side. Should I read through the story again or skip it?
Go through it quickly.
In the massive hollow mountain of Mount Crowcrest, there once lived a great nation of dwarves. The dwarves discovered power stones while mining deep in the mountain. They used them to power machines and eventually entire cities. They lived in peace and prosperity for centuries. Over time, they became infatuated with power stones and dug deeper to find more. One day, they dug too deep and unleashed the Gloomdark Hordes, an army of trolls and monstrous creatures. Once the dwarves realized the trolls turned to stone in the sunlight, they fled far from the mountain and found refuge in the sunny hills of Brecca Village. Centuries passed, and over time, the dwarves forgot their traditions and abandoned craftsmanship and innovation in favor of warring and raiding. History became myth, and myth became bedtime story. But whispers of a long-forgotten darkness echo throughout the valley of the great mountain. It can be heard in the snoring forest by those who dare enter.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say, I just want to. All right, yeah, let's wait till the Airy cutscene.
Dwerve, we shouldn't be here. You can't even fight with that little crafting hammer. The snoring forest is full of vicious creatures. If we run into any, we're done for. Here, hide in my bag if you're so scared. Alright, go ahead. What you're saying?
Yeah, so that intro right now it's just text, but for the final game it's going to be like a book themed like cutscene. So you're like be flipping through pages and there'll be like illustrations. So it'll look pretty cool.
I moved my portrait up so people can see the entire dialogue.
Okay, cool. Oh, that's a good idea. How is the game's development going? Awesome. Right now we're in the content phase, so we're just building out levels, designing, quests and battles. So a lot of the core systems are done, and bosses. So it's a lot of the fun stuff.
There's big boss battles in Dwarve. We forgot to mention that.
Oh, there is. Like they're awesome. So I don't know if anyone saw the trailer, but you should check out the trailer on the Steam page. If you haven't, at the very end you will see Grumble, and he's our first boss, and he looks awesome.
Dwarve, you're awake. Thank goodness you're all right. I told you never to go to the Snoring Forest. Your mother went in there and never came back. Had I not found you when I did, you would have died. Forgive my anger, son. I don't know what I would do if anything ever happened to you. Well, I better get back to Brecca Village. Chief Tane and other warriors went raiding this morning, but I've been assigned guard duty again. I'll be home for dinner. See you tonight, son. Let's explore.
So how did you decide on this genre mashup? Um, I guess I don't know. Like we liked playing tower defense games and RPGs. So having played Orcs Must Die and Link to the Past and Dungeon Warfare, it just seemed like a very interesting combination that hadn't really been done.
Yeah, exactly.
Before, at least not
to
like
this
there are
level.
Yeah, exactly. So it seemed like a very interesting mashup to explore, and it would be a lot of fun. So that's really it.
There are other games that have had other tower defense games that have had a character. I'm gonna scare that bird. That have had a character, but they didn't make it into this RPG story. So definitely the reason why we wanted to do this is because we knew that nothing like this really existed.
Yeah, so you have Orcs Must Die, but that's really separated into two phases. So you build towers, and then it's action RPG combat. Whereas the combat is tower defense focused, and Dwarves Boomerang is an extra mechanic, but the emphasis is really on the turrets and the traps. Does Dwerve get a companion at some point in the game? Yeah, so he has Airy. Airy's the little cat-like creature with little horns. Airy is Dwarve's companion throughout most of the game, although Dwerve does meet other characters. I'll just leave it at that, but he meets a variety of characters.
We haven't called
Petition to make pig.
We haven't called Airy Dwerve's pet. Is that something?
Yeah, it's weird because Airy can talk, so it's weird
Airy's
calling it
so
a pet. It's more like a friend. Yeah, it's like a friend/pet. Petition to make Pete dub the whole game.
There'll be a
Wonderbots.
there'll
Yeah,
be
actually,
a what do you call it? A download where it's just me dubbing the whole
it's
game.
it's a setting you could turn on. But speaking of dubbing, if you guys haven't seen the video yet, Wonderbots did a playthrough of our demo from a while back, and he was doing voice acting for the characters, and it was pretty awesome. So definitely check that video out.
Oh, and if you do play the demo, feel free to record it and upload it to YouTube. Just please link to Dwerve.com or something like that. But we love to see people play the game, and it's really fun to see people playing our game and see how they do. It's also kind of like us watching people play test it.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's really important to kind of like, assess where there's problem points. So if we see, a lot of people getting stuck at certain battles, or not doing strategies that we thought we should have taught them already, we can redesign certain areas to teach strategies or mechanics better, or to make battles more intuitive. So it's really important for playtesting.
Like, we figured out that people forget about the dash, so we added dialogue where we remind the players that they have a dash.
Price tag of the game, we haven't decided yet. Yeah, we haven't decided yet. And I don't want to say a number and then we decide down the road it's different, but we're still considering.
It's not gonna be like $50, and it's not gonna be like $5.
yeah.
It'll be a very reasonable price.
Is there gonna be multiplayer? It's definitely not planned. It's on the super back burner. Maybe there might be a multiplayer game mode after release. If the game does well after launch, and after we do porting to other consoles,
we really have to focus on getting the single player story experience done, and then we can add think about things like multiplayer. And another one that we think would be fun is a level editor. So those are two things that we would love to do, but probably not at launch.
How long have you both been making games? Oh, geez, I don't even know.
I started
8 years, maybe.
Yeah, I started with Game Maker in high school.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it's 10 years probably.
Yeah, I think senior year in high school, I made my first game in Game Maker.
When this game blows up, where does one submit their resume? if Dwerve does well and we can expand our team, we will definitely make a jobs listing on the website.
We actually do have a company site. It's halfhumangames.com.
Yeah, I'll link to it. There's nothing there, but there's stuff there, but it basically just links to Dwerve. Here, there it is, halfhumangames.com. But that's where we'll be if we can afford to, expand our team. And we're looking for additional help. It'll be on the site.
We really do hope this game blows up, so please play it on YouTube and wishlist it, because wishlists kind of let us know what the popularity of the game is. It gets us super excited to see the wishlist going up, because then we feel like, we're gonna make it! We're gonna make it! I think Steam promotes your game if you get something like over 20,000 wishlists or something like that. When you launch, it's hard to get Steam to feature you, and wishlists and people buying the game at launch increases your chances of Steam promoting you, and that can be a huge help.
Why does Dwerve hit their turret? Oh, he's building it. The hammer animation is him building it. Unless he was throwing the boomerang, but yeah, he doesn't hit his turret.
Wanted him to build the turrets really fast, so he just smacks his hammer down, and the turret gets built. If he sat there hammering away really slowly, the game would be a lot slower, and we want the game to be very reactionary and fast-paced.
Does the game have controller support? So yes, you can play it with controllers. We still need to improve the experience regarding controller support with UI.
Yeah, but in the demo though, at any point in time during the demo, you can plug in a controller and start playing with a controller. So go ahead and try it. Yeah, try it in the demo. It should be fine. if so, maybe you might not be able to click on something in the UI, and you might need to use a mouse. But for the most part, it works.
No, yeah, I don't think he was hitting with the boomerang. He's probably hitting an enemy that was by it. You can't repair turrets, at least not currently. The way you repair them is basically recalling them and rebuilding them.
Yeah, here.
But of course, like
I'll show you guys. You build a turret, and then when it gets hit, it loses health, and then even before it's destroyed, you can recall it. And once you have enough power stones, you can rebuild it. So, as you can see, I can't build a turret until those power stones come to me. So if you're really, really far away, the power stones will take a little bit of time to fly to you. It's a tiny little delay in order to punish the player, because you can, when you rebuild them, their health does go all the way back to max HP. So here you can see that this tower is about to fall. It's really low HP, and now what I can do before it gets destroyed is recall it and rebuild it, and now it's back to full HP. And that's part of the strategy and mechanics that we want players to figure out and do.
how many gameplay hours are you estimating in the final release version? We're aiming for about 10 hours for like the core story. That's assuming you die a couple times per level and whatnot. Of course, with the extra game modes, there will be more hours of gameplay. And somebody else asked what platforms. So we are initially targeting Windows, Mac, Linux, and Switch, but after we hope to bring it to Xbox and PlayStation, we're a very small team, so we gotta focus first. One at a time. Yeah. Core game first, and then the additional consoles after.
But Switch will be the first console.
Yes, because that was our big Kickstarter stretch goal, and we reached it. So we're definitely going to prioritize that, and the other ones will come after. Hopefully.
In the demo, I believe you get to use 3 towers, but if you watch the trailer, you get to see a lot more towers in the game. I think we showed in the trailer at least like 10, right?
Yeah, I think we showed almost all of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the final game will have about 15 turrets and traps, so a lot of variety. And each turret and trap has its own upgrade tree, so you can kind of customize it to cater to your playstyle. So for example, you can make the crossbow turret shoot faster, or it can have maybe piercing arrows that go further, maybe even flaming arrows. We haven't really decided on upgrades yet, but the point is, you'll be able to make your turrets more powerful and kind of customize them a bit using these upgrades. That landscape there is beautiful. Thank you. So we want to do this for each kind of new biome, is have like a special kind of view where you can kind of get a snapshot of that biome. So you kind of can help envision like the different locations you're going to. And of course it's like also serves as foreshadowing. But since the game's always top down, it's kind of nice to have like a cliff top view of the biome instead of always looking down at the ground.
Yeah,
it'll kind of help with the world
the distance with the top down view. It's a little.
Outside of story, what is there to explore? So you kind of explore while you're in the story. So each level is going to be kind of like with kind of open-ish. Like even though each level is generally linear, there's going to be like little offshooting paths with puzzles and things hidden, Easter eggs and chests and keys. So within each level, you can explore and you can also inspect. So we're going to add a mechanic where you can inspect books or stones or old ruins and get a little bit of lore about the game world as well. So it's going to be very like story and lore rich as well. What was the game made in? Unity, and the art is made in Sprite.
We prefer Unity over other game engines, and for indie developers, there's some serious benefits to using Unity over GameMaker and even over Unreal. Unreal is a great game engine, but for indie devs, usually Unity is easier. For one, it's C Sharp, and also it compiles faster, which is something people never talk about. But when you're developing a game and you need to test stuff, you have to compile a lot. And Unity compiles much faster than Unreal, so you're actually going to be spending more time just staring at your software loading your game for you to test it out. Compiling is whenever you change code, it has to basically update the game with your new code.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of missed your voiceovers, by the way. So if you want to keep doing that for the dialogue.
Oh yeah, sure. I assumed you were gonna keep talking the whole time.
No, just feel free to cut me off. It's just hard for me to sync up because of the delay. Yeah, just cut me off if I'm yabbering.
This bridge here is a good choke point, but as you can see, the turrets are gonna fall. So I'm gonna start retreating back. And we want people to figure out stuff like this in every battle. The terrain is designed for you to discover these strategies for every single battle to make it easy if you build in the right locations. Dwerve, what are you doing here? Are you alright? You should have stayed on the cliff with your grandpa. It's not safe here. Those workboards, did you do that? Looks like Esben finally taught you how to use those turrets. Son, I am going to make sure that all of the trolls are gone. Find and defeat the remaining workboard dens. From there to there. Here, take the tar trap so you can slow down the warg boars. Traps only require 1 power stone. Here, take mine. I'll be alright with an axe. Be careful, son. Everybody has an axe except for Dwerve. Dwerve has a hammer. We want to keep it that way though, because we don't want it to become a hack and slash game. We want you to focus. We want the focus to be on the tower building. That's why Dwerve doesn't have, super offensive abilities.
Well, he will have. He won't be like an active, it won't be like an action RPG. But we are adding throwing axes, and that'll basically be a stronger but slower alternative to the boomerang. And then we're also going to have a warhammer. So you're not going to swing it around constantly, but it's a special attack. And what it'll do is Dwarf jumps in the air and he smashes the ground and it'll do a bunch of damage and knock enemies back. So it's kind of like to save you if you get swarmed.
Yeah, one of the biggest feedbacks we got was people wanted Dwarf to have abilities. So you will definitely unlock abilities for Dwarf. The ones that are in the demo is the dash. And as you can see in the bottom right corner, it's recharging above the health bar. And so now it's full, and now it's charging up. And then, of course, the boomerang. So here's a good example of being able to create an intelligent setup where I put the arrow towers here, one to shoot across the water at the bees, and then put a tar trap here to slow down the warp boards, which are fast, so that way there's plenty of time for the crossbows to hit it.
Somebody asked if you could swim, so no, you can't swim in the water. Can you talk about protecting your IP or anything related you've had to deal with? We haven't really had to deal with anything, but I will say if you're an indie dev and you're negotiating with publishers, definitely pay attention to the IP clause. Some publishers will want to retain, or not retain, to get IP rights, and that really, that's really important. Keeping your IP, I think, is really important, especially if you want to make sequels or board games or other projects. Yeah, merchandise. So that's something I would say to keep an eye out for if you're a dev. I would recommend not going into any contracts where you lose the IP. Unless, if it's really good and it's what you want, sure, but just think about it, give it some serious thought. Could this have been made in Game Maker Studio. I'm sure you could make Dwarve or something similar in any engine, really.
Yeah, you can make
Yeah.
almost any 2D game in Game Maker. It's just a little bit hard. If you know how to use Unity, Unity's more complicated, right? Don't get me wrong. But if you know how to use Unity, it makes a lot of things easier. Like, for example, a really quick example, Game Maker doesn't have a whole bunch of UI features. It's pretty bare bones. So it's hard to do a bunch of cool UI stuff in Game Maker. It just takes longer. And that's just a simple example of how when you're doing UI stuff, you'll get it done quicker if you use Unity, if you learn how to use Unity. But honestly, I think it's worth it to learn how to use Unity because you're probably never going to be able to get a job using Game Maker. And Unity, like 90% of mobile games are made in Unity, and a bunch of studios use Unity for games. And even big studios, Hearthstone, the Blizzard game, it was made in Unity.
Can you make a demo on your channel on how to make these trees move? So this is actually just a tween. We use do tween for our animations, and it's just a tween that's skewing it basically. So it's not really an art thing per se.
You can find DoTween on the Unity Asset Store, and it's one of the reasons we also love Unity is because there's so many assets on the Unity Asset Store. We're also using a dialogue system for all the dialogue, which will make it easier for us to translate the game.
Was all the art made by Pete? So actually, there's been 3 artists. So Pixel Pete, Inche, and then Sun Pixels.
Sun Pixels did these beautiful portraits that we see right here.
Yeah. So the way that we keep a consistent art style is I like basically whenever Peter or one of the other artists, whenever they're working on like an asset, they have an ASprite file with a bunch of the other characters and environments in there, and they use that as a reference point to make sure the style is the same. In general, there's a certain basically kind of guidelines we follow in terms of like outlines and color saturation. So as long as you kind of make sure that you follow those guidelines, the art generally, will stay consistent. What does your daily work schedule look like? Well, with game development, that depends on what phase of development you're in or what you're working on.
Since we're a small team, we wear a lot of hats, but PJ definitely is more on the programming side. And currently I'm doing a lot of the level building. So we have a whole lot of levels, a lot of areas in this game. And I'm going to be doing that for months.
Yeah, so it really depends. Like it might be like writing story one day, it might be fixing bugs,
Building a
level
boss
design. Yeah, we might be working on a boss. It might be preparing for the events like this.
Right.
So it really depends. There's no your average day kind of thing really. Just wake up and then you just get a bunch of tasks done, and there's no kind of consistent type of task. Every day is different.
We are self-employed though, so we do kind of just work nonstop. We there was one point where we were even trying to work weekends as well. We had a part-time gig, and so time was very valuable to us. But it's hard to work at a job and try to make a game. If you have a full-time job and you're trying to make a game and go to school, it's really tough. You really have to pick a very small project. And we both quit our jobs to finish Dwerve. We're all in on this project.
Asking more about how we keep a work-life balance. That's just kind of like up to us. Like Peter said, like because we're now a full-time in Dwarf, it's kind of we need to manage our time. We need to make sure we're not overworking ourselves or not not working enough. So we try to work about 10 hours a day. Sometimes it's obviously more than that depending on what we're doing. But we definitely try to keep a balance and not work too much or too little. He's also an hour behind me, so we just kind of make sure that we're working on roughly the same kind of schedule each day. We're not super strict about it, but obviously if there's issues or we need to discuss something, we need to have an overlap when we're working.
But you do have to make that the work-life balance sacrifice. Like obviously, there's always going to be some family stuff that you have to do, and I don't, not go to like family's birthday and stuff, but I definitely made the sacrifice of like just hanging out with friends, because it's hard to enjoy hanging out with friends when you're like self-employed and you know that you could be getting work done. So I feel like if you really want to go all in on a video game, on a game, you're gonna have to make a sacrifice. You can't, play video games for 6 hours a day. There's definitely gonna be something that you have to sacrifice.
So somebody asked about the dialogue system. It is from the asset store. It is dialogue system for Unity. It's like the top dialogue asset on the asset store, and
Yeah,
it is phenomenal.
If you search
Very
dialogue
powerful.
system, you'll find it on the first page.
Yeah. Best part of becoming a full-time indie is you get to spend every day working on, your passion, like a game that you love, that you're excited about. The con is obviously that it's super tough to be an indie. It's hard to make games that are profitable. Like even though like our Kickstarter, it was successful. We raised over $50,000, but at the end of the day, you have 4 devs working in this game for several years. That's not a lot. So it's really about the launch and can this game make enough money for us to make a new game and live comfortably and pay our bills. So that's the tough part of being indie.
I love the aspect of it that you are constantly making progress and you're building something. I can't stand jobs where you're doing the same task over and over again. My first job was working at Wendy's, and I'm just flipping burgers. There's nothing fulfilling or satisfying about doing a job like that. And so I love seeing progress. Either PJ will do something new, or I'll have something new to show PJ. It feels really good to every day know that you're one step closer to having like a full game.
All right, someone's asking about GPT-3, and I don't really know about that, so I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm kind of looking it up right now, but I don't have any thoughts on it because I'm not really familiar with it.
What is it?
Auto-aggressive language model that uses deep learning to produce human-like text. It seems like you could use it to drive story for a game, but I really don't know enough about that, to be honest. Has it been hard working the same game for so long? Definitely. You definitely get exhausted. That's just something you need to kind of push through. It has its ups, it has its downs. Sometimes tasks get tedious and it can get a little demotivating.
Yeah, you also have to have the discipline of not thinking about another game idea or
getting started pet project
or falling in love with another game idea.
Yeah, getting distracted.
That's what a lot of developers do. Because when you're an indie developer, of course you're gonna have a ton of ideas.
Oh, okay, I was wondering what that link was. Yeah, I'll check that out later. I was like, alright, was somebody linking their Steam chat? Alright. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Feel free to keep, asking questions. Again, if you are enjoying the stream, you can download this demo and play it yourself. You can get it from the Dwerve Steam page. I will link to that for people that are watching from YouTube. And if you enjoy the demo or the stream, please wishlist the game. It's very important to help us get exposure when we launch. Inche in the house. Oh, we have Inche here?
Hey Inche, what's up?
Wait, no. Is he here? I don't know. Somebody said Woo Inche in the house. I don't see him though. Oh, there he is. Howdy. Okay. Inche, do you want to hop on a call with us? Where is he? Can we get him in here?
Yeah, get Enche in here to talk about the art.
How do we do this? Let's see. And Shay. Create group. Oh. Can I? How? Oh, can.
I think
Yeah,
I might be
I'm.
able to do it, right? Or you can do it.
I'm gonna disconnect and call you back. All right.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Health is kind of low. I don't remember if there's a health potion somewhere. Alright, we're gonna have to make it through this next battle. Half HP. If you're quick enough, you can dodge these guys' attacks. They're called dart spitters because they're spitting out darts. The guys with the shields, they block the arrows, so you have to use the spin blade turrets against the guys with the shields. Oh no, I got hit. Oh no, my health is so low. The screen starts getting red. If you can see, it's getting red around the edges. There's a health potion. Nobbling Spearman. Hey, that's our treasure, you stinky dwarf. So these guys aren't trolls, they're nobblings. Nobblings live in this forest. I think I'm gonna put spin blade turret here, here, and here.
Hey, Peter.
Yeah.
Join the other call.
Oh, did you end up calling me or not?
No, I switched to the Peter, Milko, and Shay, like the chat with all three of us. Yeah, so go ahead and join from there.
Okay, hold on. Let me see. All right, now we need PJ to get in here. He's calling me.
Hey, Peter, you there?
Yes. Are we all here?
Hey, go.
All right, we're all here. Cool.
All here. Nice.
All right, let's get back
Am I
to
on the stream now?
Yeah, you're
Yes,
on
you're on
the
the
stream.
stream.
Okay, cool.
All right, let me catch up on questions.
The delay is a little weird.
You might.
Oh,
you might
yeah,
want to
it's
put
off.
your volume up a little bit higher. And shit.
Okay. How's that?
That's better.
Okay, good.
All right, somebody's asking about how long it took to prepare for Kickstarter. Definitely more than a month. Like obviously the demo itself took like forever to make the demo. But the trailer took about a month. Preparing the Kickstarter page and all the graphical assets probably took about a month. We did a lot of research too beforehand. I would say a couple of months because you want to have everything ready to go a couple weeks before. Honestly, about like a month before. That way you can send it to other developers and get feedback, ask for cross promotions, start getting people to try, hey, can you write an article when we launch? And, by that time you already want it looking good so that you can convince people, to cover it or come, support you or play your demo. So you want everything ready to go in advance. But so I would say at least a couple of months.
And then
Which languages? Oh yeah, go ahead.
And then we still have to make all the products.
Yeah. So we still need to go through and order the T-shirts and design the art book and
The posters.
place a bunch of orders. so it's a lot of work before, during, and after. So it's
You have to be
it's
ready
a lot
for
of
the
work.
long haul with Kickstarter.
Oh yeah. Any
Can I
tips?
take a
to take
question?
Yes.
Oops, sorry. I just want to say Battalion 12 asked, how do you build your color palettes to be so gorgeous? Thank you, first of all. I just wanted to say that there was already a bunch of really nice colors in the game, so I usually grab, if I see a nice color on the internet or on a image that I like on Twitter, I'll just steal that, and then I will just add that to the repertoire so we can add that to the game. There we go. Sorry for interrupting.
Nah, it's
No,
fine.
you're good.
One of the
No,
first-
we,
One of the first
we've been
versions
interrupting
of-
each other all night.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So that's fair game? That's fair game? Okay.
Yeah, it's fair game.
One of the first
It's hard.
versions of Dwerve had kind of a dull color palette because we were experimenting with making it kind of realistic, and then we slowly kept adding more and more saturation because people tended to like those pictures
No,
more.
lowering the saturation. We're lowering the saturation. We
We
made it brighter. We made it lighter.
Yeah, we messed with the colors quite a bit
Yeah.
to see what people like.
The grass got a lot lighter, I noticed.
Yeah.
It looks nicer. More saturation. There you go. More saturation,
No,
brighter colors.
Wait, isn't it less saturation? I'm confused
Is
now.
it?
I'm not the artist. I'm gonna start talking.
The trees are really saturated. Like the area you're in right now with the aqua colored trees. I love that.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
All right. Somebody asked which languages will Dwarf be available in. So, we actually had localization for a stretch goal. So, I'm actually gonna pull it up just to make sure I get them right. But initially, it'll be available. It'll be available in.
I'm gonna play through it again since we got Insha here.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah, let's do it. So initially, it'll be available in Spanish, French, German, Italian, Brazilian, Portuguese, and of course English. And then after launch, we want to bring it to a couple more languages. So Japanese, Chinese, Korean, and Russian. Those last four though, they're not certain. Those are iffy. Those are up in the air.
Nicholas Gama asks, what was your biggest challenge so far in this game? As far as art-wise, that would definitely have to be the bosses. We've only shown Grumble so far, but I've done a lot of really massive animations, things that are like a couple hundred pixels wide at least. I mean, just making giant stuff like that move, that's always hard, but it's super cool looking. I can't wait for everybody to get a peek at some of those.
Yeah, it's hard to make it look smooth, right?
Yeah.
Once I polish it a little bit more, I'll start sharing a little bit of gifs. I'll tease the other boss that we haven't shown yet.
Nice.
I'm not even sure if I did the other Grumble animation. So yeah, I'll tease some more of that for sure because they look super cool.
Oh yeah, we got to show off some of that. That and the key art. The key art that we just recently put out there. That was something that I have never done. You know, I've done a little bit of digital painting, but that was something else, and that came out really well. I think.
Came out awesome. I love it. It's my desktop, and it's just I love staring at it. It's so beautiful.
Thanks for trusting me to do that, by the way.
No, I was confident.
Cool.
What did you guys do for market research? A lot of people have articles and YouTube videos on preparing for and launching Kickstarters. We just watched those, read those. I looked into previously successful Kickstarters. I researched their page, their trailer, their updates. You just kind of study what people have done before, and really just read articles and watch videos.
There's stuff that every Kickstarter should do, like contact other Kickstarters that are also running at that same time and cross promote. That worked great for us. But there's also very different strategies that work for different people. There's not like one formula that you have to stick to have a successful Kickstarter.
Yeah, that's very true. It really depends on like the type of project, the team, your team's strengths, and how you want to kind of tell your story, not just about your game, but also of your studio. You're not pitching just your game at the end of the day. You're pitching yourself, your story as a developer. You want to say, hey, this is what we want to build, and this is why we can build it. Why you can trust us to deliver on this, and this is why we're passionate about it.
Yeah, you don't want to do a Kickstarter also too soon and then not show enough, because it'll make it look like your game might not get done and you might not have enough to tease the game. So doing a Kickstarter too soon can be a very easy mistake.
Did you guys consult any experts during development? I will say yes, but when I say yes, I mean like other developers. So we didn't go to like any professional consulting or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
You just reach out to other devs that are trying to do the same thing you are. Say, hey, how did you do this? How did you prepare for Kickstarter? How did you collect emails? How did you get people to want to play test your game? And I think that's one of the best things about the indie community is people are always willing to help you.
Yeah, they're so helpful. It's amazing.
Yeah, so if you're an indie dev, feel free to join our Discord and DM us. We have a lot of devs in there.
I love the indie
Actually,
game dev community because even though people are, competitive, they want each other to succeed because they all know how hard it is to succeed.
how long did it take you guys to do this? So far we have been working on the game for 3 years. Yeah, so 3 years to get to where we are now. That being said, there's a lot more done that's not in the demo. Because obviously we can't show everything in the demo. But we have about 5-6 biomes. We have 15 turrets, and there's gonna be over like 30 enemies. And 5 bosses. So there'll be a lot of content in the game. That's basically what we're kind of focusing on for the next couple of months is building out the levels and the boss battles and really fixing any bugs, making sure controller support's good, that you can configure controls and stuff like that. A lot of the core systems are done. How long have you guys been working together? So Peter and I have actually been working together for like ever. I don't even know.
Since
like 7.
as soon as we graduated college, pretty much.
Yeah, so it's been like 7-8 years maybe. We've been working with, how long? Has it been 1 year or 2 years? It's been 2 years, right?
Has it been 2 years? I thought it's only been 1.
You know what? It's 1.5 years. We've been working.
Okay,
Yeah,
right.
because we started in summer. Yeah, that's right. So we've been working with Inche for a year and a half. And I think it's been about 2 years maybe. But yeah,
Morty's
so
the musician.
yeah, Morty is our musician and sound designer. He does a great job at both.
Yeah, Morty's great, by the way. Where'd you guys find him?
I think it was.
I posted everywhere. I posted on Reddit's, Facebook groups, like a bunch of different forums and stuff, and a bunch of composers reached out, and we really liked his work, so we went with him. So yeah, it's kind of just posted out there, and he just got back to us.
Nice.
He gave us this really awesome demo. He did sound design too. It's funny because we were looking for a composer, but he did music, he did sound effects, and he recorded it all over the gameplay and sent it back. He went above and beyond.
Yeah, a lot of people did very minimal effort, even under what we even less than what we asked, and Morty did everything we asked for and more. So we really loved it. We liked his enthusiasm. We were on work with someone that is this enthusiastic about working on the project. And I think I think his sound design added so much to the game. I love it. Every time.
Yeah, in general, we've worked with a lot of different people, and there's a couple of people we worked with kind of before we started working with Inche, we basically when we were looking for artists, we did a lot of art tests, and some people, they just you can tell they were good artists, but they weren't excited about the project. And with Inche and Morty and Sun, we could tell they were passionate about the project, and that's really important because you could be a really good artist, but if you don't care about the art you're making, you're not gonna make good art or the right art. And having passionate teammates is was really important for Peter and I.
Well, the second time around.
The second time around.
The first time around, that was on me. I think being with the Sparklight people helped a whole lot, but it was much better.
Oh, that's right. That's right. 'Cause Sparklight was your first actual big project before Dwerve.
Yeah, I was getting my feet wet. I was getting my sea legs.
Dude, you're gonna go from big a successful indie game to a successful indie game in Czech. Fantastic. Fantastic.
Fingers crossed.
You're gonna have a fantastic record.
Oh, that's hope.
I hope you get an award for Dwerve too. And Che
that was amazing.
You got an award, right? I think.
Well, it was.
They got nominated.
Was nominated for I think Unity 2D graphics or something like that.
Yeah.
And that was just super exciting. We were paired up against Greece, and that game is just gorgeous. So seeing that, that was a huge boost. And I can also thank Rathalos, I think his name was. I think his name is Raphael. He was the other amazing artist on that project. He did a lot of the characters and boss designs.
Okay.
And he was also fantastic. So equal credit to him. And
yeah, that game looks beautiful. And That was super cool to be like, had to see Sparklight right beside there with like Chris and some other beautiful games.
Yeah, it's amazing. It was also funny that when you guys reached out, it was Sparklight. A huge inspiration was Link to the Past. The top-down RPG
Yeah.
kind of game. I went, hey, we also have another top-down RPG.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
You already
Yeah.
got a ton of practice doing that angle.
Yeah, it just felt so natural such a natural progression. And I really like this project, by the way. It's a lot more, the original style was a lot more in tune with what I was already comfortable with. So I think it's going a lot better based on that. You got outlines this time.
That's right. Yeah, I think like it's a lot of people don't realize how difficult it is to design characters with such small pixel density. Like most of these sprites are roughly 16 by 16. That's not a lot to work with, but you've managed to make it work. Like it's insane how you fit detail into these small little images.
Yeah, there's a balance between too much detail and then not enough, and you're just amazing at finding that perfect balance.
Thank you. I also see that we got some of the new graphics in. See the health bar there.
Yeah. I didn't finish. Like I didn't get the I didn't get the tower the new tower UI in, but I will get that in soon because I really love how it came out. I was trying my best to get everything updated as much as possible for the festival. A couple more questions. So yeah, somebody's asking about where to learn pixel art. So Pixel Pete, he has a YouTube channel where he makes pixel art tutorials, and they are awesome. How do you? Oh, somebody asked, how much freedom do you give the sound guy? So Morty, he just runs with it. He was like, hey, can I get access to the project? I just kind of want to try some things, and I'm like, sure. And he just runs with it. He just goes, and he's awesome.
We let him kind of do whatever he wants, and it's more like do whatever you want. We'll let you know if we don't like it. But majority
exactly.
The majority of the time, we're like, yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, exactly. So he really is really good at like just taking initiative, and he actually prefers it. He before it was a little more structured, but he was kind of like he kept kind of like implying like, hey, I kind of do whatever, and we let him do it, and it worked out. He just ran with it, and he kept like implementing sounds where they were missing. He added dynamic music, he added jingles for different events and ambient sounds. Like, he is fantastic.
If you go into the cave in the demo, you can hear it echoing. It's awesome.
How have you guys navigated creative differences? I feel like Peter and I like decided the vision for the game like really early on. So by the time we brought in additional teammates like Morty and Enche, it was like very very clear vision, and they joined because they liked that vision. That being said, obviously there's like design discussions where we're like, oh, this is better, no, this is better. And the way we resolve that is like by asking people, getting feedback from our community, or play testing it and having people try out different kind of variations. That's really it. If we can't,
we have a Discord
if we're
community
like
now, and it's really easy to get feedback from that community. And you should join that community if you want to give us feedback and see the development of the game. And yeah, so oftentimes we'll get feedback from the community if we can't come to a decision. Once in a while, we'll sort of like have people vote for certain things.
Yeah.
But I think
if it's art related, we might do like a little poll, like, hey, which design do you like the best? If it's gameplay related, we'll do like a play test. We'll implement kind of both versions and have people play both of them.
Yeah, for example, we did a poll
for
which t-shirt designs we should do for the Kickstarter. So yeah, by the way, the new promo art is totally gonna be an awesome shirt.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, dang, that should have been one of the shirts. It's so good. Now people are gonna have to buy a second shirt, dude. It was genius.
We got him.
Yeah, they're gonna get their Kickstarter shirt, and then they're like, wait, that one's so good. I need that one.
It does look cool.
That's
Battalion
what I say.
12. Battalion 12 says he's hiring you for his game, Peter. And I guess he's trying to entice you too, Enche, with cheese. He's gonna pay you in cheese.
My family is from Wisconsin, so you gotta pay a pretty hefty price for that. I also want to add in on the community feedback side how useful that's been, and just to the extent that at least I've seen it used from the actual key art itself. You know, we ran a poll on that, deciding which turrets and enemies and characters that everybody wanted to see, or which was most popular, and even stuff like the Observer. You know, when we were discussing the design of that, just seeing how much emphasis and how much importance you put on the community feedback has been really cool. So, if you do want to have an influence on the game, you absolutely can. Yeah, we take it all into consideration.
Yeah, we have a specific channel called like Ask the Devs. We have one for like feedback. So we monitor those as best as we can. We do have a lot of people on our server, so sometimes I might miss something, but you can tag Snarly Narwhal in there. Or we also have very helpful mods that kind of pin stuff. So we moderate those channels. We pin important feedback and notes, and we really value community feedback.
When you play the demo, there's a link to the Discord on the start screen. There's a link to that and our Twitter and a bunch of other, basically our social links, and a link to Wishlist the game. Entry, I think you can post links, so feel free to post on YouTube a link to your Twitter.
Oh, sure. How many people are there watching? About 69, 70 people here.
Oh, we're also on Steam. There's a lot more on Steam. So go, yeah, I don't know if it'll let you post. I'll do it. I don't know if it matters.
I just want to say I expect 69 new followers.
The video's gonna after the video's done, it's gonna be up on the channel. After the live stream, the video's gonna stay up on my channel.
Actually,
okay.
link.
Where are you linking? You might not have permissions or something.
Twitter. I think I might have broken up the link or something.
Oh. Uh-oh.
Never mind, I guess.
I think it's just at Enche, right?
Yeah, I'll link it. I should be able to link it. And let me do the half-human one too.
Thank you.
There, I posted in both.
But yep, over there you can see some gameplay, GIFs, some behind-the-scenes stuff, some concept art. Pretty neat. It's a good time.
I really like the root animation you had a while back. Like, it's so simple. It's like a root, but it's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, people.
Are you talking about the Gromble one?
Yeah. Foreshadowing. A little bit of teaser for what the boss battle involves. As if it wasn't already obvious by a giant, like, tree guy. How was your game design process? How did you guys come up with ideas for the game?
We did a lot of a lot of lists. So we made we thought of every single tower we could think of, and then we were like, okay, which ones are similar and which one of those is cooler?
Yeah, exactly. So I looked at a bunch of tower defense games. A lot of our turret ideas came from, Dungeon Warfare. I also looked at, Dungeon Defenders, Orcham's Die, and we kind of see what towers they had. We looked, we just kind of wrote a giant list of whatever we can come up with, and we kind of just went through them and all right, which ones are aesthetically cool and also mechanically cool. So in terms of gameplay, and we kind of just prioritized, the top 10 to 15 ones. And that was basically what we did. We pretty much did the same thing with enemies. We wrote a giant list of a bunch of enemy ideas, and then we kind of prioritized it by which fit the story and aesthetics, and also mechanically which introduce interesting.
Yeah, we wanted them to have
enemies.
variations. We didn't want biomes to be similar or towers to be similar. and it's easy to come up with a lot, but it's harder to come up with a lot of unique ones.
Yeah, that's actually a really good process for coming up with like ideas for anything. Really, you just come up with a giant list, like 100 things, and then by that time, what you'll do is you'll get all the easy generic ideas out early, and then you're forcing yourself to be creative to come up with additional ideas. And then once you fill out the entire list, you can go through and pick the most interesting ones, and that process tends to work really well for game design.
We also wanted every biome to have a different color palette. So one of the factors for deciding what biomes we would do is whether it would have a color palette that hasn't been used yet. And I think we did a pretty good job at making each of the biomes look different. If you watch the trailer, you can see a lot of the biomes.
Yeah, actually, I think it covers them all in there, and there's also screenshots on the store page as well, the Steam store page. Which, by the way, you can download this demo from, and of course, you can wishlist Dwerve. Wishlists are pretty important because, like, one, yeah, of course, it notifies you when we launch, but also it helps us get featured. The games industry is very competitive. There are a lot of games releasing on Steam every day, so having more wishlists increases our chances of standing out and getting featured when we launch. As a developer, does being closely tied to mechanics make the game less exciting? Um, I think I will say, like, when you play a game a lot, it can get exhausting if you're playtesting like over and over again. It can get exhausting, and the other thing is too, you also get really close to your game, and it can give you a very biased view. Like, for example, I have a tendency to make battles way too hard.
You also
Because
get
for
because
me,
you also get good at it.
yeah, it's
You get
obviously like
really
we're
good at
making
the
the game,
game.
so we're gonna be good at it, and I'm gonna know all the best strategies and tower placements. So I'll make a battle and I'll play it and be like, oh, this is easy. And then, the average player won't find it easy because they didn't make the game. um, so being close to the mechanics, it can present some bias and it can get exhausting when you're playtesting.
If you ever need a room tested, just send it my way. I'm not good at this game.
You know what? That's a good point too.
We should watch.
Yeah, it's important.
We should watch you play every time we finish a section. And you haven't tried any of the new levels, right?
I have not just yet.
All right.
It's my first time seeing all this new stuff in here.
I've built a
Does this demo go,
I've built a bunch of levels that no one but me has tested. I think PJ tested them a little bit.
Yeah, very little. I kind of just played through it real quick for the game flow, but yeah, not really.
does this demo go a little bit further than the last one?
It's the exact same actually. I was about to say roughly the same, but then I remembered, oh no, we decided to actually keep it at the same. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the biggest changes is the battles in the Snoring Forest. They've changed quite a bit.
Yeah, we made the pacing a little bit slower. We felt like we overwhelmed the player a little bit with the last build, so we slowed things down, and we actually don't introduce the spike turret in the demo anymore, just so they can focus on getting comfortable with the current turrets.
Because we introduced new enemies and new turrets, it felt like people wouldn't be able to just learn all of it that quickly.
Yeah, it takes a while to adapt to the different strategies, get comfortable with them, and especially apply those strategies under pressure. Somebody's asking, are any really bad ideas shot down early? We try to avoid being negative early on, just because when you're brainstorming, you don't really want to shoot down ideas. Because could you imagine I always use the analogy of of Minecraft. It's like, hey, I'm gonna make this game where you just hit blocks and you can move the blocks around. It's like, what? It didn't sound that cool, but you may not imagine exactly what the other person is saying. So we avoid shooting down ideas
Too soon.
at least early on like that without exploring them. We might be like, hey, I don't really understand your idea, or it didn't sound like that would be fun. Can you elaborate? Can you give references? But no, we try not to shoot down ideas early.
Oh, but we do have pillars. If you haven't heard of that before, usually a game has like pillars, and it's basically things that you use to make decisions. So, for example, one of our pillars is to make sure that the focus is on the towers. And so sometimes when there's decisions, if it doesn't fit the pillars of the game, we know that it's probably not going to be right for this game.
Yeah, for example, Dwerve is like a lighthearted fantasy, right? So, and it's also mid-core, right? So it's mid-core, so we don't want the game to be too complicated, where you need to be like a hardcore gamer to like grasp it and enjoy it. On the flip side, it's not super casual, so it still needs to present challenge with each battle. So we just kind of think about those pillars. For us, I think our three main pillars are probably story. The world needs to be interesting, and the characters, and the quest, and the really need to drive the level progression. Then of course it's the turret base. So the turrets need to have the utmost focus in terms of the gameplay. That's one reason we don't have like action RPG combat where you walk up and hack and slash your way through dungeons. We want it to be all about strategizing with the turrets. And the last one, I'd probably say is, I think the monster, like part of like the opposite end of like the turrets is like, well, every monster can't just be generic. They need to be, interesting aesthetically for like a story purpose, but also mechanically. That's why later on, like earlier on, they're very similar, but later on, they have very unique.
The shield unit which blocks the crossbow turrets. And so there's enemies that counter certain towers, and there's also towers that counter certain enemies.
Yeah, so we have like necromancers that spawn stuff. We have the observer that shoots a giant laser beam. We have fast guys that just go after dwarves, try and kill him. So the enemies really are also an important part of making interesting battles.
The slimes split into
as expected.
The slimes split every I think 3 times, and so the spin blade turret's good against those since it does AoE damage. And then in this battle, this is the first battle where we introduce ranged units. It's in the second wave, and ranged units, they can shoot at the spin blade turret, so it's good to counter them with the crossbow.
So somebody's asking, at what point did you guys feel that the project will sort of work out? I would say the first one is the Steam Game Festival from last summer. So we got a lot of wish list. Wonderbots made an awesome video that got lots of views. And that was our first like, oh wow, there's like public interest. Like people like what we're working on. That's really awesome. And then of course the second one was the Kickstarter. Having so many backers and raising over $50,000. That also was reinforcing the idea. All right, we're not wasting our time. People like what we're working on, and they're excited for it. So I think those two events were probably the most motivating indicators that hey, people like Dwerve.
Yeah, the Kickstarter was really important, and if you're working on a project, you don't want to do the Kickstarter too soon, but you also don't want to work on it too long, because you want to know if people would, for example, back it on your Kickstarter.
Yeah.
There's not really a way to find out whether your Kickstarter is going to be successful or not. People just recommend trying to start building a following on social media before you do a Kickstarter.
Yeah, and emails if you can. You want to collect emails. You want to gain a following on Twitter, and even Facebook. Actually, Discord. Discord's really important because with Discord you build a relationship. So with Twitter, sure you might like comment and I might reply, but with Discord, like
there's
people, you're having a community. Yeah, there's a community and you're having like a conversation. So you build relationships with people. So it's a little bit deeper than the other platforms.
Or you make a YouTube channel like I did.
Yeah, or if you have the time, make a
YouTube
channel.
That's a lot of work, and it's really easy for it to not be worth it. I wouldn't make that your first option.
Yeah, Peter busted his butt like all week. Like it was like every weekend. You would spend like the entire like an entire like a day like recording and editing and and all this stuff, and so it is exhausting.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you can stick with it and pull it off, you have the time and energy, and you can do it. It's obviously, it's obviously very, very rewarding.
And if you can't build a social following, then it might be hard to get a funded Kickstarter, and you might need to team up with someone or work with a company. But it's very important to be able to market yourself as an indie developer.
Yeah, because even a lot of publishers, at least like your small and mid-sized publishers, like their marketing power is probably going to be like decent. So you might not be able to rely on them entirely. Some of the bigger indie publishers, sure, like they will probably have like tons of contacts and can get your game out there, but it's tempting to just go with a mid-sized publisher. But even them, like they're not gonna probably market it as well as you would if you were like, you were the one making the gifts and making the tweets. Like it's your game, so you obviously care about it, and you're obviously going to try to do a better job. So it's something you really should do as an indie. You really should learn marketing and social media.
Publishers also tend to mostly just advertise the game at opportune times. We're constantly posting about our game on our Twitter, and I'm constantly making videos about the progression of the game. And the publishers that we've talked to, they've all said, "Hey, you should build a social media following." They know how important it is.
What's the most outlandish idea you brought up?
Multiplayer.
Yeah, like that's like, oh god,
Level editor.
it's a lot of work. Yeah. I'm trying to think if we thought of anything super silly for this game, but like I feel like we have, but I just can't think of anything off the top of my head. We do have a really cool boss. Like it's a giant. I don't really want to spoil it, but I guess we're gonna tweet about it eventually. But so I'll give a quick teaser. It's a giant rabbit. That's pretty funny. It's literally a giant rabbit, so that's pretty exciting. It's a trap idea. Oh, you guys are totally gonna want it, but we're not gonna do it. At least not right away. We might add a chicken coop. It'll spawn like armored chickens and like that headbutt you.
The
like peck at you.
Goat is pretty funny.
Oh yeah, the fake goat's pretty fun.
So it's an outlandish idea, but we put it in the game. It's a trap where you place down a goat, and it's in a barrel of dynamite, and then enemies attack it, and it explodes in their face. It's actually really fun. At first, I was like, "No, that's not gonna be good." But after using it in the game, I think it's really fun.
Yeah, and the animation is so funny when it spawns. It's like eyes like roll in its head. It just looks so silly.
Yeah, it looks silly. It's great.
Yeah, why is it a goat head, by the way?
Oh, because trolls like eating goats. It's like
it's a what do you call it? A trope, right? I don't know if that's
I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, trolls are sometimes associated with eating goats. When we unlock it, I'll make sure to like elaborate on that for just so it's clear.
Oh, that makes sense. No, I just didn't know that. That's funny.
Yeah, a lot of people aren't familiar with like the idea that like in some like mythologies and some lore that trolls turn to stone too. So we'll make sure to make those things that might not be common knowledge to make that known in the story.
A lot of games start to mix trolls with orcs, and I've even seen someone play our game and call the trolls orcs, and I'm like, no,
I mean,
no, they're trolls. So
I mean, it's all fantasy. It's like at the end, like orcs are so common.
But them turning to stone really is part of that troll mythology.
Yeah.
We try to give them big noses too.
Yeah, trolls are associated with having like big ears and droopy noses.
Yeah, so
we actually wanted like a crazier design for them, but like we don't have enough pixels. Like I wanted like an Icelandic like troll look, but like there's no way we can get that in these small graphics. Like it's so hard.
So something kind of cool that we did with the dwarves too is to make them not super generic. Is in the story they almost become like Vikings. They leave the mountain and they start raiding. So it's kind of cool to see dwarves kind of take on this sort of like Viking culture, and we really like that because you're during the game you're kind of like learning about your past, and you're returning back. You're remembering what it used to mean to be a dwarf and how different it is now. And Dwerve is basically by building these turrets, he's basically reliving or whatever, reenacting how dwarves used to fight back in the mountains, and that's where he goes into the mountain. It's gonna be really cool. The story development around that.
Yeah, the journey from Dwerve's journey like into the mountain is kind of rediscovering the past culture of the dwarves and how it used to be about technology and innovation, and how they've kind of descended from that into like more barbaric Viking
Yeah,
like
into raiding.
yeah, yeah. So that's kind of what the intro like text currently kind of tries to convey. But like I said, in the final game, it'll be like a book themed cutscene with illustrated pages, so it'll look really nice. Um, I think you want to like about wrap it up now, I guess.
Yeah, I think
Or do you
so.
want to? Okay, okay. If you're just joining or you're playing, we did pre-record a stream, so like in case you missed it, Peter will be like playing through it and talking about it, the game for anyone that might have joined late.
Yeah, and I'll say more about the game and the gameplay. And right here at the top, don't forget this big green button, and then the links right here on the right.
Yeah, please wishlist Dwerve if you haven't yet. Assuming you're enjoying the stream, you can also, of course, try the demo. Just scroll down on the Steam page and the big fat green button. I
Yeah,
will
now's the
link to the
time to try it
page.
because it's only going to be available for about a week. So don't miss your chance.
Yep, I linked on YouTube for anyone that's on YouTube. Just it's also in the video description. You just click and go to the Steam page.
And feel free to record and upload your gameplay to YouTube, and then maybe share it in the Discord or send it to us. We're gonna search for for Dwarf gameplay after the event. We love seeing people play through the game. I think that about wraps it up, right?
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for hanging out with us. Hopefully, we answer everyone's questions. If not, I am linking to the Discord, so you can pop in there. We have a dedicated channel called Ask the Devs, so feel free to ask any questions that we might have missed inside of that channel.
All right, see you
All
guys.
right,
In a
thanks, guys.
few
Have a good night.
seconds, there's gonna be another stream playing. So if you wait around, you'll get to see more. But this one's gonna be done for now.
All right, thanks, guys. See ya.
Peace.